Excuse me? Thank you. We would like to reconvene the regular board meeting of the Board of Education. Roll call show that all the board members are present with the exception of Mr. Hammond, who may be joining us shortly. We are fortunate to have both student representatives here today, a rare treat, and staff is present as well. Today, the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Plymouth Elementary School. Ms. Heck.
Good evening. I'm going to have my students come right out in front of the podium here. I'm going to say a few words first. Before they say the pledge, I just want to introduce you to them. This is Annalise Carrillo. She is a 5th grader at Plymouth. And this is Brian Tran, 5th grader from Plymouth. And they are both super excited to be here to represent Plymouth tonight. But even more excited, they are thrilled about the fact that they will be at our brand new magnet school, our computer science magnet school, Santa Fe Middle School next year. So they've already been doing a lot of coding. They've already been doing coding with Code to the Future at Plymouth, and I was just talking to them, and they are both really excited about the opportunity to just kind of keep getting to do those great enrichment, engaging activities with coding next year when they're at Santa Fe. So without any further ado, please stand. Not so prepared, but...
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board. Picture time. What are we doing? Picture. Certificate. Picture time. Oh.
For all the guests? And some? Buddy's hand.
All right. Good job, buddy. Good job. She'll give you one eventually. She's that way. Good job. Thank you, Mr. Tran. Front row.
Okay. Smile, let me see some teeth. 1, 2, 3, cheese.
1, 2, 3.
Think.
Come on, Dad.
Got it? All right, Brian. All right, Annalise.
President Wong, before we move on, since Principal Heck mentioned Santa Fe Magnet School, what I'd like to do is recognize two things. First, during their open house tomorrow evening, we really will be recognizing Santa Fe as Santa Fe Computer Science Magnet School. And we will be focusing on computer science, and our students from Plymouth will be able to go and continue their instruction in coding, but really more than that, creating with computer science and coding and including all of that information. Oh, in fact, I think Mr. Puvakin has a, go, if you go, there we go, here is the the card. I think there's some out front if you'd like to pick one up. And since we're on the topic of Santa Fe, standing in the back is a newcomer to say, voting on him, it will be so awkward if the board votes no. But I'm going to take the chance anyway. We have on our agenda, submitted for the board to approve today, Dr. Jeffrey Zamaripa, who will be joining us as the new principal of Santa Fe Computer Science Magnet School. As he makes his way down here, or down to the podium, I'd like for Dr. Jackson to say a little bit about him so that perhaps we could sway the board and persuade the board to vote yes.
I might be able to put forth a persuasive argument for you. Board President Wong, members of the board, Dr. Tarosian, it's a privilege to welcome our newest member. See, I'm already saying he's our newest member, to our administrative team beginning July 1st, 2017, as a principal of Santa Fe Computer Science Magnet School. Dr. Jeffrey Zamaripa comes to us with a rigorous curriculum vitae, having attended USC as an undergraduate, earning his master's from Point Loma Nazarene, and then returning to USC to earn his doctorate of education. As he is fluent in Spanish, he served as a migrant education teacher, a middle school teacher, and a middle school assistant principal, and most recently as a middle school principal in the El Monte City School District. He's well versed as an instructional leader, but just as important, he's quite personable and possesses a level of energy and enthusiasm that those involved in the interviews and those currently working with him in his district believe is an exceptional leader and the right person to serve as the next leader of Santa Fe. So with no further ado, as I know people have been patiently waiting his announcement, I'd like to invite, oh, you're already there. So Dr. Zamaripa, to just say a few words and introduce those that have joined you this evening for this momentous occasion, and a momentous occasion indeed.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Jackson, and thank you to this fabulous school board, and the cabinet is just so impressive. Dr. Tarosian, Dr. Jackson, who's been wonderful, and of course we have our CBO, Miss Wu, and right here just been so fabulous in helping out as well. The vibe is just incredible. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I look forward to doing great things. I'm pretty much a lifelong Monrovia citizen. For the last 22 years, I've been heading down Myrtle and glancing towards that school, honestly, and I keep going down Peck Road into El Monte. So this is a dream come true. I'd like to recognize my family who's here tonight, my wife Monica, and my children Hallie and Matthew, who are fourth grade twins at Mayflower. And my father, Bob Zamaripa, who did the right thing and purchased a home on Hillcrest Boulevard back in the 70s. So, and that's, the Santa Fe family, I am ready to just tear this up. I'm looking over here. I just met Miss Esquera for the first time. She's fabulous, and I look forward to becoming a real team player with her. I would say we're ready to write the next chapter, but at Santa Fe, but really we're ready to code the next chapter at Santa Fe. So I look forward to supporting the vision of this fabulous board and this wonderful cabinet, and let's do it. And Santa Fe Magnet School, listen to that. I'm fired up, so ready to tear it up, and thank you for this fabulous opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Zamaripa. I hope the board chooses wisely.
Item number 4, report on the board closed session held of this date. We are currently recessed, and we will resume after this board meeting. Item G1, the board agenda. Do we have any changes? Moving on to the approval of the minutes of the last meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Huff?
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. On to recognitions. We would like to recognize the Village Program. Dr. Kaiser?
It is with great pleasure that I introduce to you Mr. Tom McFadden. I'm going to have Tom come and introduce his people. Tom is an extraordinary director of our village program. And being that the state has threatened to diminish the funding that is given to our after-school program, Tom wrote a letter to the senator in charge of the funding for the state education committee and invited him to come see the wonderful things that happen right here in Monrovia. Well, he took him up on the offer, and these children came out and greeted the senator and gave him a tour that was par excellence of their program. The senator fell so in love with them that he invited a student to come up to Sacramento to actually present in a Senate hearing on the appropriations. And I'm going to let Tom McFadden introduce his families and these darling children.
Thank you, Dr. Kaiser, and thank you, Dr. Trosian, board, cabinet members. The support that we have for running the after-school program for Monrovia is really outstanding, and it is challenged by the grant that we have that has been flat funded for the last 10 years. So getting more funding for the program is imperative to keep the program going, but it's very helpful when the senator comes to see it in action. And what he saw in action was students doing student things, having a great time, and telling the senator all kinds of amazing things about the program. So we actually took the senator up on his offer to go to Sacramento. So we had a family drive up to Sacramento. Miss Linnea Golar and I got on the plane at 5 in the morning and flew up there ourselves. Grandma was a little bit nervous about it, but we made it over that hurdle. And we arrived safely in Sacramento. It was an amazing day. We were fortunate enough to actually be joined by Dr. Kaiser, who gave us a tour behind the tour of the Capitol. So that was a big treat for us. So the first person I'm going to bring up is a 5th grade student at Monroe. Her name is Chloe Erickson. She's bound for Clifton, so we're excited about that too, as well as Santa Fe, going in there. And Chloe did an amazing job. She was our first speaker at the testimony, and she had a really beautifully prepared speech. She went through that in an amazing way, and then ended it as only a dual immersion student would in Espanol. So that was a great job by her. So come on up, Chloe. So this is Chloe Erickson. Just turn around for me. That's great. And then the next speaker we had is a 3rd grader currently at Monroe. She loves to be. She'll tear up the mic if we gave her some time. She'll be just talking and doing a great job with that. And she was really powerful and spoke from the heart, which is amazing for a 3rd grader to do twice, both at the senator visit and at the testimony. So we'd like to give a big hand to Linnea Golar for the impact she made. So I was really proud of these 2 students. It was like a proud dad moment when I saw them up there testifying. So it was really amazing. And again, we thank you guys for your work. I am hearing good news about the ACES rate increase. We'll see what happens there. We got a couple more hurdles. So if things go well, we'll have good news here at the beginning of June. So we'll find out about that. But out of over 4,000 ACES run programs, 400,000 students, these are the 2 that represented California in an amazing way. So awesome job. And we want to thank their families. So this is Chloe's mom and aunt, and grandma is in the back over there. She's clapping right now. Very good for Linnea. And your mom is here. Mom is over there with a camera taking pictures of all of us right now. So perfect. We're going to get you guys up here and we'll say some stuff, take more pictures, then we'll be on to the retirees or something, right? Something like that. So let's get over here.
All righty, item H2, the board would like to recognize Ms. Susan Rubio's Brad Oaks Elementary School class. Ms. Dyrek? Jump at the gun.
Excuse my appearance. I just came from a Little League championship game, so go Cubs, you know. Okay, so I apologize for that. President Wong, Dr. Cherosian, and members of the board, I am here on behalf of Brad Oaks to introduce a teacher who has dedicated over 15 years of her life to our school and our district. Tonight, she gets to showcase her students and their work. Susan Rubio does a masterful job incorporating civics and government into her classroom. As all great teachers do, she makes content meaningful and relevant to her students' lives. Her students are excited as they campaign. I am so proud of their work. Please welcome Ms. Rubio to the podium to tell you more about her class and their work. Give her a hand.
Thank you so much. President, board members, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited, clearly, to be representing my school here. You know, it's been very meaningful to me. I've been teaching government to my third graders for nearly a decade now, and many of you know why. I have a passion in politics, and so what I do with my third graders, I really want them to understand that they could easily be leaders in their community, and I force them to go out and find things that they can do, either fix, create, however they can make their community better. And so every year we have elections in my class, and they formulate a message, they debate one another, and then they get elected. This year I had it with the presidential election. Normally I have it with Monrovia elections, but so anyhow, I'm just here very excited, very proud of my students, and I wanted them to show you what we do. So I'm gonna invite some of them up. Let's welcome Madam Mayor Macy Maniquil, Councilmember Long, and Councilmember Cesip. So Madam Mayor Macy Maniquil is going to give her speech and show you how she got elected. After that, Councilmember Patrice Cesip, she's going to give her victory speech. And I know in the interest of time, we can't do everything. And so these three young, fine individuals make me so proud every single day. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Madam Mayor, Macy Maniquil.
Hello, I am Macy Maniquil and I am running for mayor. I have lived in Monrovia for almost my whole life, and I believe I can make this city a better place. As Gandhi once said, we must be the change we wish to see in the world. This means that if you think the world should be a better place, then the change starts with you. I am running for mayor because I would like to be the change. If you vote for me, I will be devoted to three things. The first one is environmental sustainability. It includes water conservation and recycling. I think we need to conserve water because there is a drought right now, and if there is no water left for us to use or drink, we may not survive. I also think that we should recycle because if we keep throwing away things that we could recycle, then the world would be so full of trash that we may no longer be able to fit in this world. However, there can always be something new made out of everything we recycle. Another thing I think we need to do is plant more trees for cleaner air. I think we need cleaner air because if a certain kind of gas gets in the air, it ruins the atmosphere and the air will become so dirty that it may eventually become hard for people to breathe. Finally, I will build shelters for stray animals. I will do this because sometimes I see animals just wandering around and almost getting hit by cars, and I feel bad for them. I will take care of them and heal them if they're hurt. As Steve Jobs once said, the ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. I am one of those people who think they can be a change. So please, don't forget to vote for me on November 7th, 2016, because I will not disappoint you with your vote. Also, if you vote for me, please vote for Patrice Cesip as a council member. Thank you. And that concludes my presentation.
I just wanted to share, as I mentioned, I've been teaching this nearly a decade. This is the first time they surprised me and they ran a slate. That means that they run together and they convinced everyone to vote for them, and they actually were successful. So next, help me welcome Councilmember Patrice Cesip.
And again, in the interest of time, she's just going to give her victory speech as opposed to her campaign speech.
Hello, I am Patrice Cesip and I ran on a slate with Macy Menangle. This was the first time that Miss Rubio taught a slate because Macy and I wanted to run together. We created the S&M slate. I ran for council member and my friend ran for mayor. We won. A special thanks to all the people who endorsed, supported, and voted for us. Thank you, Miss Rubio. We are so grateful to have you as a teacher because you taught us what slate means and teach us daily how to be gracious whether we win or lose. Also, congratulations to Councilmember Corbin Long for winning. Thanks to all our classmates that ran for office. Lastly, thank you to the Monrovia School Board President, board members, administrators, and staff for allowing us to present here tonight. Thank you.
Well, and with that, we conclude. Councilmember Long didn't have his speech ready, so he'll just decline. But anyways, please help me give him a big round of applause. I am extremely proud of them. Thank you. Did you show the board?
Oh, put the posters in the picture. Put the posters in the picture.
I think the mayor and councilman should be happy you guys did not run. They might have had some problems. Item 3, the Board of Education would like to recognize and thank our student representatives, Amy Gonzalez and Brenda Hernandez. Dr. Throsian.
Thank you, President Wong, members of the board, cabinet, and audience. Today is the last meeting of two of our two student representatives, and they have served their communities, their schools, and this district well in presenting thorough, comprehensive reports during each meeting. And so I wanted to take this opportunity to simply thank Amy and Brenda for a job well done. But you can't leave until you give your final report. We want you. You should be in the center right now.
What? And I guess we're doing pictures of first. Item 4, the Board of Education wishes to honor those Monrovia Unified District employees who have retired or will be retiring this school year from the district. Dr. Jackson?
Yes, Board President Wong, members of the board, Superintendent Terosian, and members of the community. Tonight we celebrate our retirees. However, before we honor those present, I'd like to acknowledge those who indicated an inability to attend this evening. Janice Dunbar, Mayflower teacher, Patty Gould, Brad Oaks, Cindy Hine, Santa Fe teacher, Linda Mayfield, food services worker, Brad Oaks, and Kathy Watanabe, librarian at MHS, Monrovia High School. If we can, just in their honor, let's give them a round of applause to acknowledge their commitment. Thank you. As past practice holds, I'd like to bring the individual site principals who work with these exceptional individuals on a daily basis to say a few words. We have 7 schools represented this evening, and kicking off the retirement celebration is Principal Kirk McGinnis, Monrovia High School.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to recognize the retiring class of 2017. In a few weeks, we're going to be recognizing the graduating class of 2017, but this is an outstanding opportunity to recognize the years of accomplishments, contributions, and dedication to our students, our families, and our entire community here in Monrovia. So first, I'd like to introduce Madam Berry. Marianne Berry, come on up. Madam Berry has been teaching French at Monrovia High School for 19 years. So every single student that has come through our program in these last years and proceeded all the way through to the AP level, my daughter included, has had the opportunity to learn and benefit from her calm, her patience, and her inspiration, and learning the love of a new language and learning the love of a culture. And her classroom has been nothing but inspirational. So, Madam Berry, thank you so much. Gretchen Esparza, come on down. I know she's way back there. This young lady needs no introduction, but I will embarrass her in front of all of us this evening. Gretchen Esparza has been on the documents in your paperwork. It says 31 years, but we were talking before the meeting, and she began in the district in 1978. So if you do your math, that math, you get 38. So somewhere there's some number differences, and we can probably recalibrate in a moment. But for these amount of years, 31 or 38, this lady has poured her heart and soul into our school. She's our local historian. She's the one that has been the shepherd of Will the Wildcat and his story. She welcomes our 9th graders and our new teachers into our school community with the history and the understanding of what it truly is to be a Wildcat. She's been impactful for countless families on our campus. And if you have had an opportunity to come to one of our dances or our homecomings or our prom, more than likely she sewed? Is that the correct word? Sorry. My mother-in-law would be terribly embarrassed if I didn't know that. She's an English teacher. Hand sewed all of the dresses for the prom court and homecoming courts for countless years, creating the opportunity and for our students to shine on that evening. Not to mention impacting the lives of our students and their families on our campus for so many wonderful years as a PE teacher, as a link crew leader, as a dance teacher, as the town historian, the school historian, and many, many other mentor roles on our campus. So Gretchen Esparza, congratulations. Next is Rosemary Flores, math teacher. Rosemary, come on up. She didn't want to come up in front, but I'm going to embarrass her anyway. What? No, you can't hide. So Rosemary has been a stalwart member of our math community for the longest time, 22 years at Monrovia High School, and has been able to help make math an opportunity, something that is accessible for many of our students. And she has always had a calm presence in her classroom. Her classroom is a warm, welcoming spot that she flashes that wonderful smile, and kids are immediately comfortable and ready to learn. And she's just been such a great colleague for her team members. And we're so grateful and appreciative of your time and your service to our students and our families. So, Rosemary Flores, congratulations. Mr. Mike Wagner, come on up, Mike. Mike has been with us at Monrovia High School for 18 years, or in the district, 17 years. And Mike is another one of those individuals who has stories abound before he even enters the room. People kind of know who he is already. Teaching is his second career. He was a nurse and a manager in a hospital after his service in the military. And so he comes with a skill set that is unique to no other. But more importantly, what Mike has done on our campus is created a culture of safety, a culture of acceptance, and a culture of openness on our campus. And we're so thankful. In the last couple of years, he's provided a sense of calm, a sense of leadership, and a sense of voice of just meditation and mindfulness. And Mike has been able to soothe the ailing souls of our students and staff alike. And so whenever I need an opportunity to calm and relax, I find myself wandering into his classroom and just sitting and listening. The lives of the students that he has impacted just go beyond the words that I can even share with you this evening. So Mike Wagner, we are so thankful for the service that you provided to our students and families. Congratulations on your retirement, and best of luck and wishes on your travels. They're heading east in a travel trailer to go see their children and live close to them on the East Coast. So congratulations, Mike. And finally this evening, Grace Yoshimoto. Come on up, Grace. Grace Yoshimoto is one of our counselors, and she's been working with us for 33 years. I'll let that sink in for a moment. Whenever there's an opportunity for us to sort of ask, like, how do we do that? Or why do we do that? Or how did that start? Or when did that start? We can go ask Grace, and she'll say, let me think about that. And then she'll tell the whole story. And it's absolutely wonderful to have that level of patience and knowledge and history on our campus. Grace has withstood countless changes of administrators and counseling teams and teaching staff, and always does so with that same great smile and that great level of patience. She asks questions of us that make us better educators, that make us better humans, that make us better people. And she has done such a wonderful job in committing her life to our students and their families. And when you mention her name, parents like, yes, they helped my kid get across that stage. They helped my kid pass this class, or get this job. And she is the glue that kind of has held us together for so many years. And so for your 33 years, we're grateful and honored, and this is a great opportunity to help recognize you. Grace Yoshimoto. So not to let the cat out of the bag, but we decided not to bring the truckload of gifts for them this evening because next Friday we're going to be recognizing them all at the Ford Family Compound. So Monrovia High School will be en masse recognizing this large group of retirees, the retiring class of 2017. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirk. Principal Jackson, Clifton Middle School.
Well, this is a first. I'm here with our Cub mascot tonight, Miss Layla Jackson. Hello, everybody. Good evening, Board of Education and Cabinet. I would like to start off recognizing our attendance clerk at Clifton. Would Debbie Batista please join us here at the podium? Oh, I knew this might be bad. Okay, you hold the mic. Debbie has been at Clifton for the past 20 years. In fact, this afternoon we had the privilege of honoring her with a 20-year pin. And she has been a staple in our front office, assisting students, staff, and children. Oh, Layla. And we are so fortunate to have had you a part of our team for so long, Debbie. As I said to our staff today, being on the front lines at a school, if you don't get to see the job from 7:30 to 4, it's fascinating. You're not quite sure what might happen and who's going to come in with happiness or sadness or a lot of in between. So Debbie has done the job so well. She's done it with grace and compassion and a sense of patience that has allowed us to give excellent customer service and provide what we need to the families of the Clifton community. So Debbie, on behalf of the Clifton staff, we are going to miss you. We gave her a mug today to remember us that says, what does it say, Debbie? Goodbye tension, hello pension. Thank you, Debbie. And last, we would like to recognize our woodshop teacher, Mr. Jeff Ferguson. Mr. Ferguson was chosen as an Employee of the Month earlier this year, and I made sure to talk about the fact that he was going to be leaving us. So this is the second speech that I get to brag about this amazing man here. He's dedicated the last 32 years to Clifton. What a remarkable thing, 32 years. In fact, I was a student back then. So what I have to say about Mr. Ferguson is that sometimes in the elective job of woodshop, things go unrecognized. There's so much pressure to prevail in the area of core academics that sometimes we put things like the art of woodshop on the back burner and we forget about the amazing gifts and talents that somebody has. And so not only has he touched the lives of students around campus and provided them a skill set that they can take for a lifetime. Thank you, Layla. He has also provided a safe haven for our staff, and he has also been an amazing person to work with at Clifton Middle School. We will never forget what you've done. In fact, if you take a close look around Clifton's campus, many of the things that are built and new are because of Jeff Ferguson's work. So on behalf of the Clifton community, we're really gonna miss you, but we're gonna take, as I mentioned prior, the work of his wood shop, and we're going to turn it into a maker space so that his legacy lives on for years to come. Congratulations. And she's not having it.
With about a second to spare, Ms. Jackson. Principal Susan Heck from Plymouth.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, board members, Dr. Terosian, cabinet. This evening, I'm going to be recognizing 3 of our esteemed retirees. And first, I'm going to recognize Amy Verberg. So, Amy, would you come on up? And so Amy is here tonight with her very beloved John here. I see him, there he is. And so I just have a couple quick words to say about Amy as soon as my document populates here. Here we go. When I first came to Plymouth 6 years ago, Amy Verberg was our program advisor, and Amy was the most helpful person because she knew how to run all the Aries queries, and that's really important if you're a principal, and a new principal at that. And she also gave me all the scoop on all the Plymouth things I needed to know. Having worked together in the past, she was a big help and a comfort having her in my corner because we were already friends. And when Amy returned to the classroom after the program advisor position, it was evident right away that she connects with her kids and her families very deeply and pushes every child to do the best that they can and try their hardest. In fact, those were her students here tonight. I could always count on Amy to plan graduation, the graduation song, and most of all, I can always count on Amy to check my schedules. I'm not the best at making schedules, both big and small, so I may still send some of them to you even after you retire, and check that I didn't schedule like PE, lunch, and the assembly all at the very same time. I am excited that she's going to be going on some new adventures. Amy loves to go wine tasting, and so I hope when you come back to visit, which you've promised to do, that you come donned in flip-flops and some t-shirt from exotic wineries that you visited. So I'll miss you, Amy. We love you. And we just celebrated. We had a nice little gathering today, so she's got all kinds of flowers and gifts. So don't think we're empty-handed with Amy here. So thank you, Amy, for all of your years of service. All right, next here we are going to be celebrating Debbie Nichols. Debbie Nichols, come on down. Debbie Nichols is sweet like sunshine, and she is always has a daily greeting of aloha for everyone. She is an excellent teacher who does an excellent job with her students, teaching them to read. Debbie has great classroom management and a great way of explaining things to her students so that they really understand. She's kind and clear with her corrections, and she gets the job done. When it came time to open up TK at our school, and I was looking to create a new team of kindergarten teachers, it was easy to choose this very positive Howley, Debbie Nichols. And in true Aloha style, she jumped right in and created a classroom environment where literacy and a love for reading was at the foundation of her craft. Although Debbie and her husband Tom will be spending some more time at their house in Maui, they won't be completely absent because they do have their grandkids here in Glendora, and she's already promised to come back frequently to help out with art projects, especially ceramics. So aloha nuloa, which means much love and fond regards.
Thank you, Suzanne.
She has flowers and gifts too. Oh, and a certificate. My bad. All right, and last but not least, I have Susan Savageau. Come on down. All right, and lastly tonight from Plymouth, we are celebrating Susan Savageau, S-A-U-V-A-G-E-A-U. That took me a couple of weeks to learn that one, but I did learn how to spell it right eventually. Susan and I started at Plymouth at the same time. We were kind of both the new Susans that year, and she had been a teacher at Monroe for many years and came to Plymouth 6 years ago. Quickly, I learned I could rely on Susan to be a straight shooter. She is always honest and takes the pulse of our staff, and I have appreciated student as one of our site MTA representatives. She's always sharing the needs of the staff with me and is a true confidant in keeping me in the loop and always helping me to make our school the best it can for everyone. And in all my years of education, I have not seen many teachers who have as high of expectations as Mrs. Savageau does. And not only that, but she takes her high expectations and has even her most reluctant learners meet that bar. And they come back years later, like we had somebody today, just thrilled that they had Mrs. Savageau and that she had pushed them to be the best that they could be. She uses honest tactics to get these students to perform and reach their highest potential. I'll miss Susan, her strength and her skills and her teaching abilities. And I wish you happy travels. Bon voyage. She's going to go traveling. With the spirit of being a lifelong learner in your heart, go forth and have fun. We will miss you.
Thank you so much.
Mariana from CLC, right on deck.
Thank you for having us this evening. So tonight I'd like to recognize two people at our site that are retiring this year, Leslie and Martha. This is a bittersweet moment for all of us at CELC, and although we are sad to see you go, we are happy and excited for you and maybe just a little bit jealous as you begin this new chapter in your lives. So Martha, come on down. Oh! Are you good? So Martha Dorn has dedicated. You okay? Yeah. All right. So Martha Dorn has dedicated 25 years to the children and families in Monrovia. Children, parents, and staff love Miss Martha. She is gentle, loving, friendly, and giving. She always has a smile, a hug, and a lap for children to sit on. She's creative and an excellent crafter. Her work can be seen on bulletin boards, in the amazing trees she creates, bringing a little bit of the outdoors into our classrooms. Martha is also a skilled seamstress. She's created our magnificent Super Friend capes for our young children to wear, and of course, almost everyone at CELC is wearing one of Miss Martha's aprons. Yeah. So Martha, we hope that you enjoy your retirement, doing all those things that you love to do. Don't forget, we will always need aprons, okay? We will miss you greatly. Thank you for all of your work and congratulations. So Leslie Canan, come on down. Martha. Oh, right. Come on. Hi, Charlie. Hi. Turn around so the cameras can see you. So Leslie has dedicated 28 years to staff and families of MUSD. She is a hardworking and organized office manager with a strong work ethic. Because of her work, the front office runs like a well-oiled machine. We can always count on Leslie to leave notes in our boxes, either asking someone to sub or reminding us of things that are due. I personally could always count on Leslie to populate my calendar with all the tasks that I needed to complete. And if I didn't do it, I could count on Leslie to populate it on another date on the calendar. And if that still didn't work, an email or a post-it note on my door. So thank you, Leslie, for keeping me and all of us at CELC organized. Office managers know everything that happens at a school site. They are the front line, helping to ensure that the staff have what they need to teach. So Leslie, thank you for the endless questions you answered over and over again, for all the phone calls you fielded, for ensuring everyone had their monthly supplies, and most of all, let's not forget those phone calls. Leslie, we need paper towels. We hope that you enjoy this time with your grandchildren, your family and friends, traveling and walking, and thank you for all you do. We will miss you. Congratulations.
Dr. Leslie Miller, Wild Rose.
Mr. Wong, members of the board, Dr. Therosian and cabinet, thank you. I have the pleasure tonight of speaking about our two retirees from Wild Rose. Kathy Hogan, she was hired in 1998 to teach third grade here at Wild Rose, and Damon Shea, who was hired in 1994 to teach first grade at Monroe. And I want to talk a little bit about both of them because they have been a fantastic team and support for me as a new principal to Wild Rose, for our staff, our students, and families. Both of them support our teachers, our school, and our students. They have been both active in MTA. Damon served as president and a member of the negotiations team, and both Kathy and Damon have been our MTA reps working closely with staff and with me. I'd like to have Kathy come up first. Ladies first. And start with just that. Kathy is always a true lady. You can always rely on Kathy for a good morning, a hug, and kind words to start your day. In the classroom, her students adore her. Her student teachers adore her. Why? Because learning is fun, and it's an exciting experience. She's an enthusiastic teacher who is a lifelong learner, and you can feel that as she teaches every day, all day in her classroom. Other things about Kathy, she's a social butterfly. She has many, yes. Our staff is truly family to Kathy, as is staff who is retired. And I know Kathy is looking forward to enjoying more than a 40-minute lunchtime with friends and with those who can get away and be able to have that lunch hour with her. She's a local Monrovian, and I know we're going to be seeing Kathy around, and she's always willing and to volunteer and support Wild Rose, and I thank her for that. So thank you, Kathy, for all you've done for me, for our students, our staff, and our families. Thank you. And our staff has some gifts as well. Mr. Damon Shea. Mr. Damon Shea, when you walk into his classroom, you want to stay every day and learn with his children. Visitors, when they walk in, are welcomed and told to please come in and have a good morning. We're so happy you're here. And that feeling is communicated from Mr. Shea to his students, who also point out Mr. Shea is very young often when he says, "Oh, I'm so old." They say, "No, Mr. Shea, you're just very young." And so, well prompted. But when you sit in his classroom, you can feel the enthusiasm to learn, the humor he shares with his students and with the visitors as they come in, so that we are all felt welcome. Damon has a story for everything, and they're good. And he has a kind heart. Damon is a mentor. He's mentored me this whole year. He mentors our teachers, and he makes sure people, when they come to Wild Rose and they're new, they feel welcomed and are part of the family. And I appreciate that so much. Damon's also a local in the community, and I know we're going to be seeing him around, and that he will continue. He will continue to come to Wild Rose and spend time with us, and how blessed we are. So thank you, Damon, for your years of service, 23 of them, to our district.
It's a blank.
Yes. It's a sign they don't want you to retire.
Dr. Tamar Kataroyan from Mayflower Elementary.
Good evening, board. Dr. Tarosian. We are here tonight to recognize two of the very best that I have seen. I don't get emotional all that quickly, but today might be different. I'm going to start with Jan Dunbar, who in fact is so magical that when she heard her name on the absence list, poof, she appeared and here she is. I will start with the one word that I think of every single time I see Jan, and it's compassionate. You guys can nod your head, that's fine, I get it, I got you. Jan is extremely, extremely compassionate. She is humble. She appreciates anything and everything you do, not only for her, but for our staff and for our kids. She is one of the hardest working I have ever seen. Her nickname's kind of Big Lots because if we ever need anything on campus, we don't need to run off. Check in Jan's room first. Chances are she's got them.
It's going to be gone.
It's going to be gone soon. I don't know what we're going to do. With her 24 years of service, I cannot say enough about what she has done for our kids and what she means to our staff. And I might get in a little bit of trouble for revealing this part, but I'm going to do it anyways. So my first year, we have these spirit shirts, and I got one of the spirit shirts, and there was like Jan's name, and it said 20. And I went to her, and I'm like, Jan, is this a mistake? I thought she was ordering a shirt for herself. She goes, no. This is for all the students that can't afford it. I'm going to buy it for them, and I'm going to pass it out, but you can't tell anyone. It's your promise, Dr. K. And I've got a few other ones. I'll just share one more. Our kids had the opportunity to go to Camp Pally, and one of our teachers who might be in this room today came to me with an envelope of lots and lots and lots of dollar bills. And she said, Dr. K, I just want you to know I'm going to be taking this to Camp Pally with me. And I gave her the look. I didn't ask. And she goes, oh, I should probably tell you why. Yeah. So Jan gave me lots of money, and she wanted me to make sure that the kids that were going, they had funds for the snacks, and if they needed t-shirts, and if they needed things. And never ended there. It was we got money for the book fair, and all of a sudden there was stuff being slipped in kids' Ziploc bags, and they thought they had $2 for the book fair, and there was $22 all of a sudden. That was Jan in a nutshell. And Jan, I can't say enough about what you have meant. And I will also say this. When people walk into my office, they think I'm pretty popular because I have a board with a lot of thank you notes. Haven't said this to anyone yet, but 95% of them are from Jan. And so that's okay. That's all right. They don't need to know.
But you do lots of things for us.
You see? There she goes. So, Jan, I don't even know how we are going to fill your shoes, but I am so thankful for the 3 years that I had with you, because you were a mentor to me, and I know that you are a mentor to so many in this room, and there are parents in this room that are all shaking their heads, and they're teary-eyed right now because we absolutely love you. So thank you so much, Jan, for all that you do. Oh, Jan, here's a thank you note. Next, I would like to invite up the captain of our ship, and that is not the principal, folks. This is Jana Bridges, the captain of our ship at Mayflower. See, I tried to kind of match them today, so I went in between the pink and the red, and I thought I'll just blend in a little bit. So Jan has dedicated 22 years of service to Monrovia. She is the ultimate team player. In fact, her team can kind of attest to this. When that phone dings at 2 a.m., we no longer wonder if it's an emergency. It's not Amber Alert. It is Jana Bridges. Don't worry. She's just got another idea for her kids. And it will end with everything's ready to go. I have the anchor charts. We will be ready for tomorrow. That's just the 2 a.m. text because she's up thinking about what else can we do. She has extremely high expectations for her students. She has extremely high expectations for herself, for her team, for our school, for everybody. And that is why we continue to do the things that we do, because we have team players like this on our team. She is extremely warm-hearted. She puts students first. And for me, I always knew the final stamp of approval came from Jan. You guys know that emoji, the one that, right? Okay, so when I would go to Jana, I would often bring her an idea because I knew if Jana said yes, it's approved. And when she would give me the emoji look, she was kind, but she was in her head thinking, what are you thinking? But yet she would kindly just say, so tell me a little bit more. And I often knew, so Jana, maybe you can help me. And that has not ended because they were still helping me outside before I walked into the boardroom. And so this is Jana. She is absolutely amazing. And one more quick little story. So when I first started again, I didn't know that the elementary had bulletins. And in fact, after the second week, put weekly bulletins in their boxes. I didn't know that you can't put them with white paper. So Jana kindly came and told me, it's gotta be in colored paper. So I put the bulletins in yellow paper, and then she kindly came back and said, Dr. Cataroyan, we only do blue. The bulletin is in blue. Don't change the bulletin color. And I got it. So I am so incredibly thankful for all that you have done for our students, all that you have done for our staff. I really don't know what we're going to do next year because we're still going to probably have you on speed dial to make sure that we're doing the right things, Jana. So we appreciate all that you have done. You have been a mentor to me, and you have been a mentor to so many on our staff. So thank you so much for all your years of service.
I didn't forget.
And to round out, honoring our class of 27 retirees, Director of Alternative Programs, Mr. Flint Ferdig.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Trosian and Cabinet. Can I have Ms. Karen Hall please join me up here? So I know that Karen looks way too young and vibrant and energetic to be retiring, but indeed she is. We thought if it took any longer for us to get up here, she might get another year of longevity on her retirement package, but we were able to get here. So 6.5 years ago, Karen's husband said to Karen, who was a practicing nurse at the time, it's time to retire. And Karen instead decided to explore a new career and join education for the final 6.5 years, and are we ever glad she did. There are probably, and I've been calculating in my head, this is a guess, don't quote me. If Mr. Russell were here, he'd be Googling it and getting me. I think about 250 probably professional healthcare people who are in this community or area or region that probably are serving our healthcare needs, and the reason is because of the education that they received from Ms. Karen Hall. And that's important to understand because that program was at the time, 6.5 years ago, those of you remember, on the docket to be cut. It was going away. And we had to find somebody who could come in, revive it, build it, find ways to help us, rob Peter, pay Paul, fund it, and bring it back. And it has put people to work in this community. It has helped all of us. And so Karen Hall was a huge part of that. And I've got more. In the 6.5 years that she worked with us, she took a program, which was a certification program, and she is now one of the two curricula that has been put together that has now been approved for 45 units of college credit for our high school programs. How many binders are in that curriculum now? What does it look like? They're this fat. And she just keeps working on them. I can't get her to retire still. She's not done yet. But she's amazing, and it's been just as effervescent and happy as she looks right now is how she always was. 2 or 3 times she got pulled me in the room with a little bit of a concern, but that was it. She's just that person, and we are dearly. I miss your smile. You are the ultimate consummate professional. Thank you for putting off your retirement for us and building our programs for the next 6.5 years. Thank you, Karen.
I want to make a statement here that may be unorthodox to some, but I want to say this to a retiree. Gretch, I'm going to miss you. I've known Gretchen for 10 years. When my daughter came to high school, and she graduated in 2011, she was in a band. And then my son left at 2012, he was in football. I worked in the boot, I still do, and I'm blessed to be in that capacity. And Gretchen and I would be in the boot, and she would tell me exactly what position she was going to be in halftime, despite what Kurt would say. But when Luke and Jessica graduated, my baby girl was there, Audrey. And she had a low self-esteem, I remember that. And when she got into dance, category 1, her whole attitude changed. She's going to be graduating from Citrus, and she still dances. But it would behoove me not to say this, and I don't mean to hurt anyone's feelings, but I'm going to miss you, and I want to thank you for my baby girl and her self-esteem. And that's it. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to recess for about 10 minutes or so we can all have a nice reception. I'm sorry? All right. For one last time, if all the retirees could come to the front, I've heard some cats here, but all retirees up to the front. We're going to get a group picture going.
Thanks, Suzanne. Thank you. Gotta come through the flex. Yeah. Appreciate you. We're holding the bunker.
That's why I told them, I'm like, so you're gonna hear it again. They didn't mind.
All right, I'd like to reconvene now that we've had a little cake and some farewells. On to number 5, board reports. Mr. Gillen.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about Monday night's Los Angeles County School Trustees Association meeting. We had Dennis Myers there from California School Board Association that talked about the May revise, and we're going to have May revise on our agenda here pretty soon. But one of the main things that Dennis talked about Monday night was how this budget is made to look like there's substantial increases this year, and things aren't so bad. But I've got to tell you, included also in this whole package is another drop in the return rate for PERS and STIRS, which ups our percentage that we have to pay. And so you will see in the board report that this district in 2013-14, we're paying 11.4% of all of our salary for CalPERS and 8.25 of that salary for CalSTIRS. By the year 2019-2020, that's going to go up to 21.6% and 18.13%. That's a 90% increase in our costs for CalPERS and a 225% increase in our cost for CalSTIRS. You don't see that in any of the publicity, but those are the challenges we're facing, along with declining enrollment. And Dennis really brought home some other things the state is doing to make it look like they're putting more money into education. But in fact, under the table are these extra costs that they're passing down to the districts. And this is a major, major, major blow. Every time they
Ms. Gonzalez would like to go to the podium and present for her final presentation to the board.
Please.
And to the community.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to soak it all in tonight. I got the okay from Mr. Furtick that I'm going to be doing this next year again, so I'm pretty excited. Alrighty, so I would like to start off with my board report. And we're finishing off this year pretty strong. We have just finished the SBAC testing, and we have already received some early results back. Ms. Zanison's class has the highest scores thus far, with Amy Gonzalez earning a 4. We are all preparing and ready for graduation, which will be on June 6th at the Community Center. We have 4 graduates attending 4-year universities next year, including Cal State LA, Cal State Long Beach, UCLA, San Francisco State, and some of our graduating seniors will be granted scholarships totaling thousands of dollars collectively. Also, Canyon Oaks High School is the SGV Continuation Athletics League champions for the 2nd year in a row. Thank you. And I also have some recognitions, and I would like to say thank you to the board members and all the cabinet for allowing me to do this opportunity. I would like to start off by saying thank you to Mr. McKendrick for selecting me to be the very first junior to represent both of our wonderful schools, Canyon Oaks and Mountain Park. I could not be more honored to be sitting here a part of the board. I have gained confidence in public speaking and also great leadership skills. I feel that many people tend to have a bad perspective on our schools, and I'm so glad that I was able to prove who and what we truly are, a graduation nation. Thank you to all board members and Mr. McKendrick for allowing me to fulfill this amazing opportunity.
Thank you.
And lastly, I would like to recognize Ms. Makia and Ms. Chick here for my moral support. They're absolutely awesome, and I see them as my second moms. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. We look forward to seeing you next year. Ms. Hernandez?
Hello and welcome, everyone. Today's report would be May 25th, the ASB is having their throwback rally, their last throwback rally. June 6th, there's going to be senior awards night at 6 p.m. And then June 6th to 8th will be finals days. And then June 7th, senior breakfast at Monrovia Historical Museum at 8 a.m. And then June 7th, graduation at Monrovia High School at 7 p.m. And then June 8th is the last day of school. And I'd just like to thank the cabinet board members for giving me this opportunity to be here with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Throsian?
Thank you, President Wong, members of the board. I want to highlight a couple of things. First, I want to thank, first let's talk about Hippie Bots from Clifton Middle School. They're not the ones in pink. That I learned today, and I think Gina Ayala just stepped out, but I see Principal Jackson right here. There you go. Welcome back. Paul Flores and his kids did an amazing job in the Netherlands, and we'll have them back. They just came back last night, I believe, and we'll have them here at the next board meeting to recognize them appropriately. But they came back as champions, representing not only the only middle school team present, but the United States, with an alliance with the Netherlands and with Russia, and what they were able to do with international relations, collaboration, competition, and grace and competition is, I believe, a graceful professionalism, and as part of that first robotics motto is something that I think we can all take a page and learn. So congratulations, Hippie Bots. Thank you to the Monrovia community for supporting them, and thank you, Clifton Middle School, for making sure that they had this extraordinary once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. They really are extraordinary. Next, I'd like to simply very briefly mention Monrovia Days Parade. We had a wonderful time. We had not only our elected officials, well, all of our elected officials locally, and you'll see there Grace Napolitano as well as Judy Chu. It was a wonderful event. Thank you to the students and teachers who had robotics out there, Code to the Future out there, ceramics, photography. We had a green screen. We had brochures. We had a dunk tank, and we had lots and lots of volunteers with that dunk tank. I think that might have been the highlight for some of our students. So thank you all. We'll talk more about that the next time. And finally, I'd just like to also congratulate Clifton Middle School at their Gold Ribbon Awards. We had an opportunity to go and receive this this award from State Superintendent Tom Torlakson. Congratulations again, Clifton, for becoming a Gold Ribbon school. And actually, the final thing I'd like to do is just commend Eric Miller for the newest version of the Monrovia High School yearbook, which we received earlier. Wait, was this a secret? Okay, so it's really just beautiful, and Mr. Miller and his students just do a wonderful job presenting all the highlights and showcasing the wonderful talent throughout the school.
Done? Yeah? Okay. Public comments for items not on the agenda. The Board of Education encourages public participation and invites you to share your views on school business. Please complete the Addressing the Board of Education form and hand it to Ms. Huff. Ms. Huff, do we have any speakers?
Board President Wong, I'd like to invite Tricia Hobbs to the mic.
Ms. Hobbs?
Good evening, board members, Board President Wong, Dr. Throsian, and others. My name is Tricia Hobbs. I am the parent of a third grader in the dual immersion program at Monroe Elementary. I am also a classified employee in the Monrovia Food Services Department,
And thirdly, I'm the current PTA president at Monroe. I'm here tonight to talk about the prospect of bringing an additional TK, kinder, or combo class to Monroe. With a lion roar, I ask, please do not. Our campus is already bursting at the seams. Adding this additional dual immersion class to Monroe, there's discussion about losing our only multi-purpose room. This room houses the Scholastic Library. It supports our RTI and intervention, our music, our art classes, and some other campus programs. We have been told our already too small library would then be compressed to make room for a new multi-purpose space. This is not a reasonable or fair solution for our students or our staff. I would like to offer a different solution. Now is the perfect opportunity to consider starting a Spanish immersion program at another one of our elementary schools. It was just mentioned at the last board meeting that although Monroe is flourishing, many of our other sites continue in declining enrollment. Why not take this opportunity and time to share the wealth and grow this sought-after program elsewhere in our city? In closing, I want to remind you, less than a decade ago, MUSD was discussing the possible closure of a school. High on the rumored list was Monroe. We have since turned things around with the successful FLAME program. Students from other Monrovia elementary schools come to us, as well as students from outlying districts. They are knocking on our doors. We have proven that if you bring it, they will come. So thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Ms. Huff, do we have any other speakers?
Board President Wong, I'd like to invite Celine Lockerbie to the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have two children with a science project due on Friday, so if I start talking about dwarf planets, please be forgiving. My name is Celine Lockerbie. I'm the parent of two third-grade children at Monroe Elementary. I love this school, from its engaged and attentive school board to its fabulous principal and its wonderful teachers, staff, parents, and children. I am especially privileged to have my children also be part of the dual immersion program at Monroe. This program is a gem, and gems are precious. And like any precious gem, we want to collect them and keep them in a satchel. But even the finest satchel has its limits. Add too many gems, and you lose everything that we have worked so hard to keep and preserve. I have learned that there is consideration of adding yet another classroom to Monroe. Doing so might mean moving the intervention classroom into the library, the art program onto a rolling cart, and parts of the library into the basement. Since I have been part of Monroe, I have seen the PTA room moved 3 times. The storage moved a number of times to ever smaller parts of the basement. The Winter Wonderland fundraiser moved to ever smaller parts of the school, and the book fair literally moved to an outdoor enclosure. I have seen the city involved in repainting and restructuring the parking and the drop-off situation around the school, yet I still see parents that have to double park, which leaves them prone to a very expensive parking ticket. We have teachers that have to park blocks away, parents that have to park sometimes blocking my driveway as I live just a few houses down from the school. And the traffic increases to ever dangerous levels for pedestrians. These are just some of the inconveniences and capacity issues that I have experienced, but how does burst seams affect you? Monroe has terrible attendance. Why? People are coming from all over the district to take part in this one school's dual immersion program, Spanish dual immersion program. When transportation is an issue, we have an increase in tardiness and absenteeism. Our intervention program identifies at-risk children, gets them help, and gets them the help that they need to succeed in school and on standardized testing. Diminishing the space for this program diminishes its efficacy. Art programs should be growing in schools, allowing children to be expressive artistically, allowing their brains to grow and develop. Our book fair and other fundraiser programs are fundraiser programs. They allow us to raise our own funds that we need for equipment and supplies. Diminishing their space diminishes their efficacy. I am here to urge the school board to, instead of overburdening Monroe Elementary with yet another classroom, open another Spanish dual immersion program at another elementary school in the Monrovia Unified School District. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Lockerbie. Ms. Huff?
Board President Wong, I'd like to invite Brent Tubbs to the podium.
Mr. Tubbs?
President Wong, board members, Dr. Therosian, cabinet, MUSD teachers, and Monrovia parents. My name is Brent Tubbs. I am a second generation of Monrovia Unified School District students. My parents graduated in 1957. I attended Plymouth, Santa Fe, Monrovia High School, graduating in '79, and our children attended Monroe, Clifton, and Monrovia High School as well. I am also the spouse of one of your many outstanding teachers within the district. These teachers bring home hours of work in the form of grading homework, performing report cards each and every day, besides the other committees that these teachers serve on to better our students. This great education that our students get here through the Monrovia Unified School District needs to continue, and our students need this. These teachers need to be compensated for the work that they do. Published by the Bureau of Labor Statistics on May 12, 2017. Consumer Price Index raised 2.7% from this past year. Please consider bringing these teachers up to the level that they have earned and deserve. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Tubbs. Ms. Huff?
Board President Wong, the last request to speak comes from Chris Blanton.
Chris?
Good evening. I provided you with some pictures and a two-page incident that has happened to my grandson at Clifton Elementary over the last year. I have serious concerns for his safety because of the escalating violence that is happening to him. There's over 10 incidents where he has been physically attacked, and it's getting worse and worse. He still has 2 more years at that school, and I what do I tell him when he's getting beat up? 16 days ago, I was in the principal's office regarding an incident that happened. That's the picture with the scratch underneath his eye. Last Friday, he was pushed into a door, and he's got some real nice pictures there of what his face looks like. And obviously, the meetings with the principal and administration is not alleviating the problem. So, I mean, what does that leave me when I can't send him to a safe school, which is supposedly what you guys are providing him with. That's not happening. That's his reality on that page. 2 pages. I mean, what do I tell him? Seriously. What do you tell somebody that's getting beat up repeatedly? Anyone want to answer that?
The best way to handle this is Dr. Therosian, the superintendent, will be able to discuss this more in detail with you on this particular situation. I don't think this is a great venue for this discussion. In these type of dialogue, in open sessions, we're not supposed to engage in a conversation. So we do take safety extraordinarily seriously, extraordinarily. So we will, Dr. Therosian will meet with you, and we will handle this to your satisfaction.
I'm going to ask you a second time. Have you seen the pictures?
Sir, I'm listening to you speak, and no, I haven't been reading as you spoke.
Well, I brought them so you could look at what I'm dealing with.
I appreciate that, and I will.
I have to send them back to school tomorrow. So what can you tell me that I can tell him tonight that you're going to provide a safe environment?
Somebody will speak with you.
And even your refusal to look at the pictures just tells me a lot.
Sir, if I can, before you leave. This is a public body, and we're restricted by the rules of what we can engage in. We cannot make a decision on something that's not, or direct something that's not on the agenda. We can't do it. It's forbidden by law. What we can do is instruct our only employee, the superintendent, to take action on what you're talking about. And that's what just happened. She was given instruction by the school board president to take action on your concern. Your concern will be addressed. Unfortunately, we can't sit here like neighbors and hash it out because the rules preclude us from being able to do that. There isn't a person here who is not hearing what you're saying or concerned about what your topic is. We want your son to be safe too. You will be hearing from us, and it will be, you might even hear us before we get through here tonight. As soon as we're done, someone will be on the phone with you tonight.
Thank you.
Okay?
Ms. Huff, do we have any other speakers?
There are none.
Thank you. Public comment for items that are on the open session agenda. Do we have any speakers? Do we have any speakers?
There are none.
Hearing none, we will move on to item I1, CTE Pathways Informational Report. Mr. Fertig?
Good evening, Board, Dr. Therosian, and members of the Cabinet. This will be very brief. There have been a couple changes to our pathways at the adult ed program, and we wanted to just make sure that you guys were informed of those changes so that they've come very quickly for us. The first change is that we have put 2 of our allied health programs, grown them to the point where they are now receiving college credit and will be, as you know by your articulation agreement, able to earn those 45 units for the program. In addition, now we are entering into negotiations, working with Dr. Kaiser, with other schools regarding a pathway that would receive college credit in the area of computer coding and cybersecurity. The reason we've done this is because of studies that we got through the adult school showing that the cybersecurity industry has starting salaries $60,000 to $70,000 for the certification that we can give them. The average salary was $90,000 with the associate's degree. That's the average, not the starting. But with that associate's degree, which we believe we could offer through the Monrovia Adult School, and with our students with Code to the Future coming up, and with Santa Fe with its new destination, we wanted to bring that to your attention and just kind of mention that the pathway which we had, which was our technology pathway, we'll be moving in that direction just to meet those needs. In addition, our auto program will also be gaining 2 more certifications, 5 and 7 of ASC. And construction is working with multiple unions at this time to place students with the Click Safety certifications that we offer. And just one quick reminder as I close that these are adult ed pathways, and they are not exclusive. They are for all of our students. Anyone who is a junior or a senior can take these, get these college credits, get these certifications. I just wanted you to be aware of those changes. That's all.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or questions?
One comment. Mr. Frutig, I just wanted to commend you and your team on designing these well-crafted pathways for all of our students. You know, your program has burgeoned, really, and flourished, and our students have flourished within them. So thank you for creating these opportunities and crafting well-developed pathways for each of our students. Everybody can find a way to not only, what is your motto is? Learn and earn?
Enter to learn, go forth to earn.
I knew it was better than what I remembered.
Good stuff. One last thing, there is we are putting together online components to each of these. The purpose for that is to offer them to students outside of our district initially, and then if they chose to, they could come to the wonderful Monrovia Unified School District to complete their educations and to continue in these pathways to earn these wonderful college credits and things that are simply not available in any districts around here. So those updates and the things that we're doing are with that in mind. That's our goal. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Item I2, Governor's May revision. Ms. Wu?
Good evening, President Wang, Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Teresian, Cabinet members. On May 11, our Governor Jerry Brown, released the state May revision. This is the last official document before the state adopt its 17-18 adult budget. So May revision will be provided the guideline for our district to develop in the 17-18 school year budget. There is possibility that from now, after May revision to the state pass the 17-18 budget at the midnight of June 15, there's possibility there's any changes for assumptions. So any changes, the district will revise our budget later on. So in the May revision, there is a change in the quota, which was released back to January. So for the 16-17, there's no changes. But however, in 17-18, quota is a little bit higher. But in the 18-19 to 20-21, the quota actually compared with the January preliminary budget drops. As each year, the level of decrease is variance.
So historically, how accurate have the projections of COLAs been 3 years out?
So 3 years always when, based on the historic data, the new adopted budget, the quota will be similar to the May revision, but however, there'll always be changes compared with the July. For example, on January 2016, when Governor released the 16-17 adopted preliminary budget number, the 16-17, the quota is 0.47%. But when May revision at 2016, it dropped to 0. So that reason why the 16-17, the quota becomes 0. But historically, back to 15-16, the quota is 1.02. The year before 14-15, the quota is 0.85. And the year before 13-14, the quota is 1.57%. So which means that each year the quota difference.
In fact, President Wong, in 13-14, if memory serves, we were slated to have a 1.8 COLA in 16-17, and as you can see, we have 0. So the COLAs vary significantly, and we are not in any way planning to put any of these assumptions into our 17-18 budget until we actually have something passed by the legislature because of the variances that we see.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any question from the board member? So in the May revision, governor also have a little bit revision for the local control funding formula. For the there will be $1.4 billion to continue funding for implementing local control funding formula, which the target year is 2021. But however, he lowered the 16-17, which is current school year, the gap funding for the revenue. Although the drop is 0.25% compared with the January assumption, but the impact of our district is we will receive $10,000 less as a result of May revision. So the detail, the 17-18 revenue impact will be in the next slide. But if there's any question for this slide.
So the bottom line of this slide is they took money away at the last second.
That's correct for this school year.
Okay.
So because the governor revised the gap funding for the LCF funding, so I listed the revenue projection for the district from as a result of January budget, preliminary budget as well as May revision. So right now we projected there's around a $400,000 increase between the two time period. And the very interesting is one-time discretionary funding. In January, the governor proposed $48 per ADA for the 17-18 one-time discretionary money. But at that time, we assumed that he will fund it in 17-18 school year. However, when he released the May revision, he said that he will give us, he will provide more one-time discretionary money from the $48 per ADA to $170 per ADA. But there's a catch. The catch is that he will not actually funding this one-time discretionary until May 2019, and depending on the state economy. So, which he said that if the economy is bad, then district may not receive any funding at all.
And according to Dennis Meyer on Monday night, he prefaced all of his statements with the fact that, oh, by the way, the economic growth in California is almost the longest it's ever been on record, and we're due for a recession. That was his preface to all of that, and then he shows his tricks by, oh, we're going to give you $1 billion out here. Oh, if my projections are wrong about the recession.
Yeah. And of course, Governor Brown has promised to provide schools with this funding 6 months after he leaves office.
Yes, and Dennis Meyer's comment was, if anybody tried to base any of their budget on this proposed money, the auditors would just have a fit.
So the summation of this portion is the top line is the difference to the revise is that we're supposed to receive about, give or take, $400,000 more. But of course, that's a gross number. That does not reflect the different portions in which they're taking or not reimbursing us additional funds, correct?
That's right.
Now, the bottom line is extraordinarily deceiving, and this is your California state legislators at their finest. So we were scheduled to get $48 per child, or about $260,000. But instead, we get zero. I'm not even sure why we put that number of $1 billion up there, because it's completely misleading. The bottom line is we get zero. The only way that we get to that particular number is we don't get it the next year either. And it's only if all items have been met. Now, keep in mind Ed's comment about the state's economic situation may be sliding, but just put it in this context. This particular year, the state undercollected in all aspects of tax revenue. In all aspects, they undercollected. So not only are we going to have to reverse that trend, we're going to have to grow the economy, we're going to have to collect the taxes, and then we have to hope that they fulfill a promise in which they don't even fulfill promises that are written into law. They don't fully fund what we're supposed to be funded. So to put an arbitrary number, which is totally their discretion as to whether they want to fund this, is lunacy. So anybody who sees anything other than a zero, give me a call. I want to talk. Next slide.
Yeah. So in the governor's May revision, also including position 39. Position 39 is the Clean Energy Job Act, which passed by the California voter back to 2012. And the projection and the additional tax correction will be funding the energy efficient project at the school district. And the funding is starting 13-14 school year, and the next year will be the last year. So the number listed here is our district allocation, and the requirement for receive the money is the district have to be submitted the expenditure report, which means the scope of the project as well as the cost attached to the project. Our district already submit, and the State Energy Commission already approved our plan. Because of the decreased funding from the January, so we project that there will be less allocation from our district for the next school year, which is 17-18. So as a result, there's a possibility that the district general fund may funding the gap between our total cost, our approved expenditure plan, versus how much the total money the state funding the district for this project.
So these revenues were not reflected in the total increase, that $400,000 number. But in order for us to complete the repairs that we had already had signed off and approved, those funds have to come out of our general fund.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct. And the funding will be, we plan to replace retrofitting the air conditioning at the school, four school site, the Mayflower, Premise Elementary School, Santa Fe, and Clifton. So CalPERS, as board aware of that, the district contribute our classified employee called CalPERS, and in the last several years, the CalPERS, the rate of district contribution have increased. And here I list the actual cost for district from 13-14 to 15-16. And then we project cost from this year and up to 19-20. And there's a change from, as the board can see, that from 15-16 to 16-17, the rate of the employee contribution has been increased. So although the district have good news, like starting next school year, the CalPERS contribution, the percentage is decreased. But however, the percentage increase over the year in the next couple of years is more around 1 to 2%. The total contribution dollar had increased dramatically. If we compare with 19-20 school year versus 13-14, the actual cost increased more, I think almost $1 million for our classified employees.
This is probably one of the scariest topics in dealing with our school's finances. These are the expenses that absolutely nobody sees or understands. So even though they say they're increasing our funding, the bottom line is the districts are now responsible for funding to retirement plans. The difference from what we paid last year of a little over $1 million to in 1920, $1.88 million. All of that money comes from our general fund. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And
Now-
the scariest part about that, Brian, is if you see that bottom line up there, our costs have jumped 125% in 6 years, according to their projection. And yet, before their projection was even out of their mouth, Governor Brown saying, but we're due for a recession, which will probably jump that in number if we don't have the longest rise in economic growth in the history of California. It would take 2 more years of economic gain where there's a projection that it can't last that long, and that $1,888,000 for CalPERS, it doesn't even include STIRS, would probably go up to over $2.5 million if there's any significant drop in the economy.
Now, when you look at the charts, obviously the light color ones are the future years. You'll notice in 17-18 that the rate has dropped from January to May. And the reason for that is yet again another accounting deal. So if I understand correctly, the state of California has lent CalPERS $6 billion. And the key word here is they lent them $6 billion. They didn't gift it to them, they lent it to them, which means CalSTRS is responsible for repaying that money. What they don't tell you is when it starts, at what rate they're charging, or what the repayment schedule is going to be. So it is very possible, highly probable, that again, those numbers are going to take a spike up because we basically have a $6 billion second mortgage, to put it in terms most people can understand. That's not being reflected, in which we don't get the terms of what that agreement is. So this right here is an absolute best case scenario that a school district is looking at. If the market, and I say market meaning the economy, goes down or sideways, those numbers are going to change. And once again, it's going to all come out of the general fund.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And for board information, if 1% change for the district contribution for the CalPERS is cost district $100,000. So next one is the CalSTRS. CalSTRS is the district contribution for all our district certificate employee. And again, as you can see from the chart, from the 14-15 to 15-16, the rate has changed. And because there's a CalPERS 2014 plan, a new rule passed. As a result of a plan, there's a different level of contribution from the state, from the employer, which is district, and the employees. So 13-14 and 15-6 again is the actual cost. We're starting from $2 million contribution back to 13-14 up to $2.8 million. And projection in the future, again, the CalSTRS, the rate does not change because for the CalSTRS, the rule little bit plan different from CalPERS. CalPERS, the rate change can be approved by the CalPERS board, and CalSTRS and rate change have to go through legislative process. So that's why the May revision, the rate is not changed compared with January. But again, in the next couple of years, every year, the rate will be increased around 1.85%. And by the 1920, the district contribution is $4.9 million, compared with 13-14, almost $2.9 million more.
Once again, take a look at what we paid last year, $2.8 million, and what it's going to be in 1920 of $4.9. $2.1 million of additional expense that comes from our general fund. If you want to add that to the $800,000 for our classified employees, you're looking at $3 million of funds that come out of our general fund that cannot be used for anything else. Anything else.
Yeah.
And that's the best case scenario.
Again, I'm not sure if people understand how these numbers work or why they change. Most of this is predicated on what they think that each of these funds' rates of return are going to be, and which have been wildly overestimated for the last 10 years, which has created this problem. And even though they revised them down to try to be more realistic, to say they're optimistic would be an overstatement, which means if they once again try to put it into balance, the only way you can put it into balance is to raise these rates again. So this is a best case scenario, assuming that their growth projections are accurate.
And also the rate of return is consistent, but the other possibility, the rate of return can be getting worse. So again, the 1% increase for the district counselor's contribution is around $280,000. So the next step is the district will prepare the 17-18 budget based on this May revision, and we will starting the budget dissection with the board, and the public hearing as required by the Ed Code will be conducted June 14, which is the next board meeting, and we will submit the final adopt budget for board approval at the June 28th board meeting. And if there's any changes compared with the May revision and with the governor's final adopt budget, and the district required to revise our adopt budget within 45 days, the signing of the state budget.
But at this point in time, we should not be receiving a formalized revision. The next budget we should get is the final budget. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Then once we have the final budget, then we go by the timelines that you've stated. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions on this?
Yes, President Wong. I had the opportunity, actually many of us did, cabinet, members of the Monrovia Teachers Association and of the California School Employees Associations, the leaderships within the Monrovia Unified School District, attended the school services workshop last week in Ontario, last Thursday, where Ron Bennett presented and distilled most of this information in a brief, 3-hour presentation, which Ms. Wu has condensed even further. So we're trying to simply highlight the impact on Monrovia and with the numbers that we know to be as accurate as possible. But Mr. Bennett summed it up nicely in saying our expenditures or our revenues are coming up about 2% a year, and our expenditures are also going up about 4% a year. So we are doomed to deficit spend, and part of that is in STRS and PERS.
Well, our problem is we have been deficit spending. We had been extraordinarily prudent in the way that we had been budgeting over the years. The only thing that can be considered somewhat imprudent was that we figured that the state eventually would get their act together and deliver what they promised. But after a number of years, that's really not the case. And this is getting to the point in which the rubber is hitting the road. We just outlined about $3 million of increased expenses with no tangible gain. Now, if you take a look at that and compare that just to say, to use round numbers, that we have a $50 million budget, you're talking about 6%. 6% off the top is taken away that cannot be used for anything. Now, that doesn't take into consideration declining enrollment and or any other expenses that the federal government might pass on to us in the way of all of these welfare, health care reforms, or how that's going to impact us at the state level. I haven't seen any positive spin on how federal funding is going to increase for the schools, let alone for the state of California. So even saying status quo, which is an incredibly rose-colored way of looking at things, we're talking about 6%. That's assuming all of our projections of reduced enrollment are wrong, and we stay exactly where we are. And I'll tell you, I hope we are wrong, but I wouldn't put a big bet on that. So, when we're looking at things and we're trying to figure out how to keep staffing at the appropriate level and where and how to do things, keep in mind what's happening. Off the top, 6%, gone. Gone. Best case scenario. Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Ms. Wu.
Thank you.
Item J, consent agenda. Routine items of business placed on the consent agenda have been carefully screened by members of the staff and will be acted upon by the board, but with one motion. Upon request, any person, any item on the consent agenda may be considered separately at its location at the meeting's agenda. Do we have any items to be pulled? Hearing none.
Move consent.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Huff?
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland,
Yes.
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Does that mean that Kathy was okay when she introduced the new principal?
It was
I
a
forget that.
it was a compelling pitch,
Argument.
and we have a new principal at Santa Fe. Please let him know.
Well, actually, I was going to say something on behalf of my friend, Mr. Hammond, by saying maybe, but he wasn't here, so. But anyway, thank you, Kathy. Go ahead.
We are excited to have Dr. Zamaripa joining us. He is so excited, and we can't wait to see him and introduce him at open house tomorrow evening as we introduce Santa Fe, the Computer Science Magnet School.
Item K1, Educational Services. Dr. Kaiser, can you tell us about the 2017 graduates?
Absolutely. It's our pleasure, President Wong, to bring to you Monrovia High School 2017 graduates, and we're requesting that you approve Monrovia High School students for graduation on June 7th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? Ms. Huff?
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland,
Yes.
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Item 2, Canyon Oaks High School 2017 graduates. Dr. Kaiser?
Yes, it gives us great pleasure, President Wong, to request that the action to approve Canyon Oaks High School graduates for graduation on June 6th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? Ms. Huff?
Board Member Gilliland,
Yes.
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Item 3, Mountain Park School 2017 graduates. Dr. Kaiser?
President Wong, we bring to you Mountain Park School 2017 graduates with a request that you approve Mountain Park School students for graduation on June 6th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? Ms. Huff?
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Item 4, Declaration for Need of Fully Qualified Educators. Dr. Jackson?
Yes, Board President Wong. The Board of Education is requested to adopt the Declaration of Need for Fully Qualified Educators. Education Code 44300 requires the Declaration of Need for Fully Qualified Educators be adopted at a public meeting of the Board of Education. The declaration shall certify that a diligent search has been made for certificated teachers, including teachers who are pursuing certification through internship or other alternative routes, and that the district has been unable to recruit a sufficient number of these teachers to meet all staffing requirements. The declaration shall be valid for no more than 12 months and shall expire on June 30th, following its submission to the commission. The attached declaration of need for fully qualified educators meets the requirements of the law, and there are no additional costs.
So moved.
Second.
Do you have any comments or questions? Ms. Huff?
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland,
Yes.
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Item 5, Clifton Middle School, Warden, Washington, D.C. Dr. Therosian.
President Wong, members of the board, Clifton Middle School representatives, leadership and staff members, not all obviously, will be traveling to Washington, D.C. as part of our consent agenda. I just want to highlight this piece. That was part of our travel and conference approved today during the consent agenda. Our teachers, our school leadership will be receiving the National Schools to Watch Award in Washington, D.C. in June. And if you recall, when the Schools to Watch Committee came to Clifton, spoke to the staff, and spoke to the Board of Education, their question, and in fact it was more of a request, was would the Board of Education be willing to travel to Washington, D.C. to receive the award in conjunction with the leadership of Clifton Middle School, so that we can celebrate together, receive the honor together, because no school receives such an honor without the entire school community coming towards and supporting it, and without the leadership of a Board of Education. A couple of months back, we started talking about attending Washington, D.C., but we also started saying that it would be best if we were able to advocate for student funding. And we have, thanks to the help of Shoshana Huff, we have been able to schedule some meetings with our legislators, with Congresswoman Judy Chu, with a representative from Kamala Harris's office, with a representative from Dianne Feinstein's office, and just Saturday, Mr. Williams connected with Grace Napolitano herself and said, we've been having trouble scheduling with you, and her response was, please email me directly. I will make sure that I have a chance to meet with you, because our purpose there will be to advocate for student funding. And as we saw in today's presentation, and it was presented multiple times, we are struggling with a lot of unfunded mandates, whether it's STIRS and PERS or whether it's fully funding special education. What we want is for our legislators to understand that our students are our #1 priority, and unless they support our students, we will continue to stretch every dollar and really not meet every one. So we will be calling on our legislators to invest in our students, especially with our students with disabilities, and increase federal funding to pay for mandated special education. So if we can highlight one topic, that would be my recommendation. And for those of you who will be able to join, please make sure to connect with Ms. Huff so that we really can present strongly and as a united board to each of these elected officials, so that they understand that this is not just a trip to go and receive an award. This is a trip to advocate for our students. And we're willing to take our time in order to go and plead on their behalf personally.
I just want to thank our board member Williams. When we were at getting ready for the Monrovia Days Parade, we had a VIP reception, and when Representative Napolitano walked in the room, he made a beeline for her. And when he came back from meeting with her, he said, okay, she's promised her staff will set up a meeting with us. And I just, Terrence, thanks so much for just making that a priority in your visit with her.
Thank you. I know we want all 5 of us to be there to meet with all these people in unison. And I've said before, the soonest I can get there is a red-eye Thursday night. And I know we have, Shoshana set up meetings, and meetings are on Wednesday, meetings are on Thursday. And I can get there at 2 a.m. Friday morning. So Friday and Saturday are going to be the only days that I can be there for meeting with these people. And when is the banquet? What night is it? It's Friday evening. So I'll be there for that. But I will miss 2 days of getting together with representatives on Wednesday, Thursday.
Can I appeal on that part by entertaining that Napolitano would receive us on Friday?
Perfect. Any other comments?
I just want to also thank Ms. Huff for her work. I think this is somewhat out of the ordinary for a superintendent secretary to be setting up congressional meetings in Washington, and we're fortunate to have the award and be able to get these opportunities. And Shoshana just stepped right up and got so much done, so thank you.
Item 6, pending board issues. Dr. Therosian.
I have nothing new to report.
I have to apologize because this thought just hit me a few minutes ago and I haven't really had time to look at our pending issues. But could we make sure that next February or March, we have an item on the board's agenda to start to look at how we're going to deal with Monrovia Days 2018. It was excellent. So many people did such excellent work this year, but I think we can learn some things and do it even better next year. So,
Thank you, Mr. Gillen. And in fact, had I been better prepared, I would have commended Suzanne Heck and Patrick Garcia for the help and leadership. But they are already compiling notes about what they would do differently for next time. And there is a debrief meeting of the committee this Friday. We hope to gather some notes then and be able to share some information with you on Friday. And of course, place it on the pending board items.
Anything else to add or subtract? Shocking, we're not going to subtract anything. All right, old business. Wednesday, the 14th, will be our next regular meeting. For new business, please note, anybody who has the opportunity to attend tomorrow at Santa Fe, the open house from 5 to 7, so we can see the grand unveiling. Any questions you might have about coding, whether you live in the Monrovia area or not, is a must-see. And you will be able to meet our new principal personally and be happy to see that his level of energy is constant. And with that, I'd like to recess the regular Board of Education open session meeting and reconvene the closed session at 9:32.